Welcome to where are we? Week 4 or 5? No, 5, I guess, of our NBA preview show. 6 and 6, and we'll be discussing the Central Division. We have a special guest today, and obviously I have our normal crew today, aside from one who seems to be hiding right now. But let's start with Didge. Didge, how you doing, man?
Doing good. You see the background. You know who I'm here to talk about. We can skip every other team.
That's why I left him for last. Anyway, Mike, Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, thanks for having me. We're rooting for the Detroit Pistons this season. I think they're going to surprise people.
Oh God,
They
no!
can't do any worse than last year, right?
You
Yeah,
would think so.
the surprise is doing better than last year. Um, and Juwaan, are you there?
Yeah, what
I
is
am
this?
here. Sorry
There
about
he
that.
is.
Sorry about that.
No
I am
problem.
here.
I don't think I've ever seen your background.
Yeah,
I don't know
different.
why my background is showing. That's unacceptable.
Exposed.
It's a very green room.
It is.
That's why the
Hold
green
on.
screen always worked, I
It,
guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
now it makes sense.
Yeah, see, this is what we can't have. There
It's
doesn't need
set
to
up-
be conversations about my background. Let's
What's the
fix
score,
this.
though? That's the thing. I see the Phillies back there.
No, fuck the Mets. I'm in a
4-1,
very angry
top of
mood
the eighth.
today.
Shout out to the Mets. Okay, not really what we're going for, but Juwaan background reveal.
Hornets.
Oh, you know what happened? my whole what you call it needed a update. I think when it did it, it reset literally everything for me. So
Mm,
I didn't even think that. Yes, there's a background reveal. Yeah.
Hornets. Ooh, you missed that division. I think I might have picked them last in that division.
Jamie,
Oh,
I
no,
can tell you
they're
right
not.
now, we didn't
Definitely
have
not.
great things to say. So
I
and just go ahead
I
and spoiler
definitely,
alert for that.
I didn't have them last. I'll say that.
No, that's right. The Wizards are in their division. I
Yeah.
definitely didn't. have
Oh
them
well,
last.
well, if it makes you feel better, Jamie, we shitted on the Wizards. So
Even worse.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely worse. But we'll see how that goes. Um, anyway, let's get to it. Can someone pull up the first team, and that will be the Chicago Bulls. Whoop, whoop. All right, the Windy City is here again. As I do every week. This is again projected. These are my projections. These are not official. They might become official, but as of right now, this is what I have. This might
And if
change.
it makes
We'll see.
anyone out there feel any better, Joel's lineups for the most part these last few weeks, 2K agree with him. So
So
Oh,
2K,
yeah.
that as you
Definitely
will.
the endorsement we get right there.
that's my
Come on, now.
2K gets it. 2K gets me.
They don't get a lot of things, but they definitely get lineup projections. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's not even sarcasm.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just an educated guess. It's just go off of like last year's data, what moves you made, and just like a lot of like if I'm off, it's because they sat last year and now they're starting this year for some apparent reason that I can't explain. So whatever, there's always these new things that happen. So Chicago, for instance, I actually made a switch this week. I put Patrick Williams in the starting lineup, even though he sat for most of last year, because they paid the man. He's a vet. They're definitely going to play him over. At least they're going to start him over the rookie, who I feel like will eventually be a starter. And I really like Matas Buzelis. But let's go over the starting five. We can go over it. So starting five for me for the Chicago Bulls are Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic. Then off the bench, you have the return of Lonzo Ball, who I swear we haven't seen in 2 years. Ayo Dosunmu, who was hurt most of last year. Torrey
We sure
Craig.
he returning.
I mean, everything I'm hearing, he'll be returning this year. So I mean, he should be
If
ready.
he's
I think.
actually returning. I'm surprised he's not in the starting lineup. But
Yeah, no, but it's Josh Giddey's job.
That's crazy. That's why I was asking, because I'm like, you're not starting Giddey over Lonzo. That's
Lonzo
crazy.
hasn't played in 2 fucking years, man. So he's gonna have to earn it. That's I think how they're looking at it. That's why they traded for Giddey. He is a point guard and was playing off guard in OKC. So let's see. Oh, where was I? Oh yeah. So they also picked up Jalen Smith in the offseason and Matas Buzelis. So they drafted a guy I feel has high upside. And then, of course, some of their key losses, big loss, DeMar DeRozan. They lost DeMar DeRozan. Alex Caruso, another big loss. And Andre Drummond, honestly, another big loss. So not so far good, losing some of their more valuable rotation players. Key additions, Josh Giddey. They kind of added someone already of a lineup, but okay, fine. Drafted Mod, as I just mentioned, how much I like him. And Jalen Smith is another solid big to bring off the bench. Fine. I don't know if it's an upgrade over Drummond, though. So look, again, this Chicago Bulls team, we can't look on paper and say it got better after all the losses I just told you about. But I don't know. They're definitely a team that I figured would have blew it up years ago. But they keep holding on for just like they have a lot of high paid salaries in there with Vucevic, Levine. And I mean they already started like shedding, I guess, last year with DeRozan, or this summer with DeRozan and Caruso. But we'll see. So far, I'm not sure exactly where I have them, but I maybe a play-in team if they're healthy and they stay and they play well, but we'll see. That's kind of where at most I see them. I mean, I guess they could shock us. Like one of these guys, if Levine could stay healthy like all year, that could help a lot. Anyway, Juwaan, what do you think about the Chicago Bulls? I know you really like them.
Yeah, I like trading Zach LaVine out of prison is what I like doing.
Not out of prison.
Mike.
He put DeRozan like 16s over the past 4 weeks. It was crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm gonna keep it going today. No, but for me, I don't know. It all depends on Lonzo Ball. I swear, Goku's returned from death quicker than Lonzo Ball has injury. It's just at this point, like he can't start. Right? For me, you got to go Josh to build some kind of chemistry and cohesiveness and consistency. And then if Lonzo can stay healthy majority of the season, he can work his way back into the starting lineup for sure. Josh Giddey's not talented enough to steal it from Lonzo, but I can't give it to a player that hasn't been healthy. So for me, that's completely fine. For me, I don't know about this team. I've told you, Joel, for 2 years now, I don't understand how we are not in the middle of a rebuild. I will never understand that. Why this team won't just die. Like, I don't get it. I really don't understand it.
I feel like they are it's like a perpetual rebuild.
Here's the problem, though. Their management has legit said, no rebuild. We are not tanking. We are not doing any of that. We are trying to compete. And they backed it up by keeping Zach, keeping Vucevic. So until those two guys are gone, or at least one of them, I'm expecting this team to be competitive. Now, what that turns into, who knows? But I'm expecting them to be somewhat competitive. Yeah, I'm very likely. But for me, that's keeping them out of being a rebuild team and getting a possible top 5 pick.
They got to lose Levine and Vucevic to fully commit to this new rebuild.
Right.
That's fair.
Which, again, to Didge's point, well, not to Didge's point, because Didge believes they are kind of heading towards that. So what I was saying, it doesn't seem like they want it, right? And until Zach asks out or forces his way out or
the problem is they wanted to trade last. No one wants Zach. So he has to bring his trade value up again. So he has to play well so people can want him again. Because this contract is bloated as fuck.
I'm interested in what that looks like, though.
He might be their highest paid player.
Well, he definitely is their highest paid player.
He is, yeah.
I don't know what that
All-Star team.
No, but when I say that, Mike, yes, for sure. But if he makes the All-Star team, that probably means your team is doing really good. Unless he's like someone gets injured and they vote him in like that. But you'd hope if a guy's in the All-Star team, their team is within top 8, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're the Bulls, no, I said you would hope. I didn't say you have to be. I said you would hope that your team is within top 8 if you're in the All-Star game. That it's flawed, Didge, because we know some people make All-Star game off name.
Okay,
it doesn't always translate.
I was just curious about
Allen Iverson's last 3 were definitely just off the name.
100%.
I was one of those people who voted for him on those last 3. You're right.
You're part of the problem, dude.
You're right.
To wrap it up for me, I don't think if Zach LaVine raises his stock, and the team is looking good, that you can afford to trade him. Because then I kind of feel like you're moving in the wrong direction. Because if you're winning games, I'm not saying they'll be gangbusters, but if you're winning games or you're competitive,
they're not. Even if they win games, they're not going anywhere. That's the problem. So they might as well just sell high.
They're not, but you could be a buyer. You could be a buyer. If the team is around the 7th or 8th seed, you could be a buyer. If you're committed to this team, you could 100% be a buyer if you're the Bulls. So that's why the Bulls are my biggest question mark out of tonight's show, is because I don't know. This team could be competitive, right? And then maybe be a buyer and then maybe get that 7th or 8th seed and see what they can do with that. Or this team could completely blow up. I've been asking for them to blow up for 3 years now, so we'll see. But that's all I got. I just don't really know where to gauge this team until they definitively start to lean one way.
Yeah. To answer DJV's question, Lonzo Ball's last game played was January 14th, 2022.
Jeez.
It's been a minute.
Thank you for that, Didge. I didn't catch it.
Yeah, it sucks. He's been out a long time. Every time
that's
felt like he was coming
He's
back,
been out so long, his dad retired from talking.
Yeah, like we forgot about the Balls for a little bit there. That's how bad it's been.
Well, it didn't help that LaMelo was also injured. So
I was going to say, every time his dad got ready to say, all right, forget about Lonzo. I got LaMelo. Oh, no, he's injured too.
Yeah.
Not trying to say them getting injured was a good thing, but it was sure nice having the moment of peace.
Yeah.
From the Ball family for a little bit, Those are two of the most peaceful seasons if we take Draymond out the equation.
Yeah, but think about what that sacrifice is, though. We got rid of him, but now we got to listen to all year LeBron and Bronny alley-oops to each other, dunks, and all kinds of we got rid of one to create a new monster.
Oh, that makes you assume if Bronny plays. I don't know how much Bronny actually stays on that roster.
Bronny will be doing something. He'll be coaching, assistant coaching, water bottles, something.
Bronny might get the Thanasis treatment.
Bro, that would be the saddest. Could you picture?
Though.
I was about to say, could you picture your dad's been screaming about playing with you for like the last 2 or 3 years, and your best role on the team is slapping the ground for a good shot or waving your towel for a great dunk? Like that's crazy. You could just let me go somewhere else then, Dad. What the hell?
That's way worse than the Thanasis treatment, because at least the Thanasis made it to the league on his own. Right, like it's not like he got into the NBA because of Giannis. Like they came in around the same time, and then Giannis got good. Bronny's only here because of his dad. That is true. Tell me I'm the cheerleader. Like is my whole career just because I'm LeBron's son? That would destroy me.
Yeah,
if I don't get some actual run there.
I'm with you there.
That's fair.
Yeah, a lot of pressure, even though also like no pressure. It's the weirdest feeling. Yeah, it's weird. Didge, what else? Did you have anything else to say about the Bulls?
Yeah, you guys were talking earlier about Zach LaVine's trade. His trade stock sort of plummeting because of last year. He only played 23 games last year. So I don't know if I could say his trade stock plummeted because of like poor play or anything. He was, I don't know if he was injured or if he just stepped away from the team. I have no idea.
Yeah, he got hurt.
Okay.
It was weird. It was a weird transitional time. There was definitely more trade value for him early last year.
Right. Yeah, because when he was playing well, but then obviously, like many on the Bulls happened, he got injured. So this team, I don't think they got better, and they were already 9th in the East last year.
That's the sad part. Yeah.
They're probably right around the same, maybe a little worse, because I don't think Zach LaVine's there all year. I don't know if Juwaan just keep pushing him to other teams has finally gotten through to me, but I do feel like he's probably gone by trade deadline. And outside of him, nobody else on this roster is really built to give you consistent wins. Like, we might see flashes of Lonzo again. Josh Giddey could sure give you something. Vucevic could give you he could be a good role player, but outside of Zach, you don't really have a bona fide star.
Right.
And even Zach himself isn't really like an all-star. Like he has flashes of being great, but we've never seen it consistent enough where you're like, this is the guy who's going to lead you to wins. Like he's a 1B, not necessarily a 1A. So,
no, I get that. I mean, yeah, they're a conundrum.
This is a good role team. Look, if you needed role players, you could come here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. They also had some fun overtime games last year. I remember, I don't know why, but I remember watching at least 2 of them that were pretty crazy. Mike, how do you feel about the city of Chicago and the Bulls?
The city of Chicago, garbage. It's football season. I'm sorry. I hate the city of Chicago for now. But the Chicago Bulls, like, I'm just gonna echo what you guys have all said. It's like they're in the Herb Cole era, like the Bucks were in, where it's just like ownership wants you to be competitive, so you're gonna just be a perennial like playing team or an 8 seed at best, and it's like that's not healthy for this team. They're just gonna they're gonna get smacked by the Celtics at best in the playoffs. Like, I don't know why you want to exist like that for the next decade. So they need to commit to the rebuild, and just trade these players, like you guys were saying. It's like they have a lot of decent pieces. Like if you get Levine or even if you get Vucevic on a contender, like they can contribute a lot there. Yeah. So you might be better off just blowing this thing up. But as it stands right now, like 10, 11 is probably where they're going to end up, because I agree with Didge. I think they did overall get worse, all things considered. And I think other teams in the East got better. So I think they're going to hover around 10 or maybe even lower. Yeah. But yeah, playing at best.
I mean, they don't even have their own pick next year. They got Portland's pick, and it's protected for lottery.
Oh, damn. That's lottery.
I know. It's a shame.
Damn. Oh, fuck. But like, look at that. It says key losses, key additions. Just look at the names on there. It tells you the difference in how their offseason went. And a lot of that to me is because they couldn't offload Zach LaVine or Vucevic. And I'm sure at some point they will. Right now they're going to, I guess, hold on to them, but they do have some nice young people. Like, I think Kobe White's really good. Josh Giddey, if he has the ball in his hand, isn't bad.
He's not great.
None of these guys are. That's the problem.
That's fair. But that's fair. But I'm just saying, like, of the OKC young guys, he was probably the worst by far, which is why they felt comfortable getting rid of him.
But that Chicago traded for him for a reason. I feel it wasn't just a dump to Caruso. You know what I mean?
I'll give you. He's probably an upgrade from Caruso, just because he's better offensively than Caruso.
That he is, but he's way worse defensively. But that's that's what happens. You lose Caruso. That's a loss. DeRozan, that's a loss. Drummond, that's a loss. You know?
I feel like anytime your key addition includes your rookie, and you're not top 3, top 4 pick, I'll be safe. Top 10 pick. It's probably a problem.
Yeah, even though this year the top picks weren't exactly the best.
They weren't. But historically, top 10, I can understand that being like a key addition. But I think they were what? What pick were they?
I don't really remember.
Let me look.
Maybe late lottery or just a bird out of it. Maybe 20. I don't remember.
You got to figure they were 11th.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, lottery. So they were.
But see, I can't even, like you said, late. Once you get past 10, I feel like late lottery that doesn't count. You're lottery, but you're not like lottery.
I do like him, so we'll see if that works in their favor. And look, maybe at some point they can take the chance of playing the rookie more, so they can see what they got in him. But obviously, early on, they're just going to have to work out what they can, so they can at least really bring up the value of Zach LaVine and Vucevic, and hey, it's worth taking that contract and letting them help another team make a push.
Sure.
But anyway,
this guy out of? Oh, he's out of Lithuania.
Oh yeah. He's out of Lithuania, but I think he was raised in Chicago.
Yeah, he was born in Chicago, and then it looks like he went to high school for a little bit in Chicago, and then kind of all throughout the country because he did some high school in Kansas and some in New Hampshire.
Gotcha. So I remember during the draft, I'm like, oh, he's from Illinois. Interesting.
That is interesting.
But his family's from Lithuania. I know a guy like that. We drafted a guy like that a couple years ago. He was from Canada though, but his family's from Lithuania. So either he's going to be really good and stay in the U.S. or end up playing in Europe. It's one of those two. That's what's going to happen.
This kid could end up having 2 years here and then he's back to Lithuania.
Right. Hopefully that for him works out.
Right.
Anyway, let's move on to the next team on the list, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Damn, none.
I'm sorry, guy. That's exactly what happened. None of note. Like I usually say key this, key that. There's no key additions. None.
Hey! They still have Donovan Mitchell, and I did not expect that. So I count that as a key addition. Good for them. They kept Donovan Mitchell.
Key addition is that they didn't lose anybody important. That's true. They are basically the same team as last year. What the health hopefully is what they gained this year. Because you do have, like I said, Marcus Morris and Damian Jones are the only key losses on there, and they were barely in the rotation at all ever. So let's just go through the starting lineup at least as I projected, and basically how it's been. This is basically.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is your most confident one because this was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's basically last year's. Yeah, this is.
And again, this team has not changed, so this is the starting line.
Yeah. So Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Max Strus, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen are projected to start. The bench: Karis LeVert, Isaac Okoro, Georges Niang, Sam Merrill, Tristan Thompson, Dean Wade. I expect to get some minutes. I saw Ty Jerome got some minutes sometime during the preseason, so I was like, "Oh, interesting." We'll see if that lasts. I am curious how the bench works out more than anything because they kind of abandoned certain players towards the end there. So I was like, I don't know. They're kind of weird when it comes to their bench. I do wonder about their depth. I do like Karis LeVert, but after that, it's like question mark.
Hey, not too much on Bucks legend Sam Merrill.
I mean, he came out. He had a coming out party last year because he was surprised. I didn't expect to see him play as much as he did. So good for him. Good shooter, from what I gather. The Cavs are the Cavs. I mean, they like I said, they didn't really make any additions. They are what they are, so they might be just as good as they were literally just as good as they were last year. And really, who they are and what they do in not the playoffs, but throughout the season will really probably depend more on the teams around them than them themselves, sadly. Unless, of course, Evan Mobley makes a leap, and becomes like the All-Star, maybe as an All-Star year. That could change things because then you have Mitchell, who's more than likely going to be an All-Star. Garland was an All-Star once. Can he do it again? Allen was an All-Star once. Can he do it again? They want Mobley to be a star. Can he be that stretch forward? Because he's not really a stretch forward, and they kind of clog the paint, and that's kind of been their issue recently. Max Strus they got because he could shoot. Anyway, Cavs are a conundrum in their own right. They'll probably a playoff team for sure, lower end. But
yeah, they were 4 last year. I don't see them being that high.
Yeah, they're probably somewhere in the middle. That's how I look at it. Maybe not a play in, maybe just above that, or maybe right in the play in. I
think they're still around 4 through 6 is still feasible for them.
That's not. Yeah, it's not. That's where I kind of have them. That's kind of where I think they're going to be. So let's start with Mike. Mike, what do you think about the Cleveland Cavaliers?
I have no idea, honestly, because like we just said, if this team stays the same, which somehow they still have stayed the same the last couple seasons, I think they're a playoff team. I think it's going to go pretty much as it did last year, where the teams around them got better, so they might get bounced in the first round,
Mm-hmm.
But if they do what I think they're going to do, and I think Donovan Mitchell finally gets traded out of here, I don't know what happens to this team after that. I just don't think the starting 5 stays on this roster. I think one of those guys is going to go, whether it's Garland or Mitchell. I think somebody ends up getting traded, and I think that changes the entire makeup of the Cavs. But as it stands right now with this roster, I think they're going to be a 5 or 6 seed in the playoffs. So par for the course.
Right. Thank you, DJV. You're welcome, DJV.
That's hilarious.
That is pretty funny. I know who they are.
Amazing.
That's funny.
Is Juwaan too busy celebrating? I saw his Mets one.
You goddamn right, Didge.
All right. Well, you back
good
up,
for
please.
the Met. It makes our loss a little less painful. You're like, yeah, maybe they were just that team this year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm a terrible baseball fan. I had no pain when the Brewers lost. I just couldn't talk shit anymore. That was the only thing I cared about.
You didn't even know who they played or
No.
when they were playing.
No, I messaged Juwaan 5 minutes after I found out who we were playing. But the Cavs, interestingly enough, because their team hasn't changed, their biggest question mark I have is in coaching. They hired Kenny Atkinson. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't have a vested interest in that, but it was interesting for them to fire Bernie Bickerstaff. No, it was JB Bickerstaff. That's right. After they went to the second round. So it was like, what were they thinking, or at least like ownership, what were they thinking their ceiling was? Because if we're being honest, that was probably their ceiling. And honestly, again, this year, their ceiling is probably first, hopefully second round again for them as well. Like you both have said, this team hasn't changed. A lot of teams in the East have gotten better. They're probably going to be in that 4 through 6 range. 4 through 6 last year was, I think, separated by a game.
Right.
So anywhere between there, that's probably going to stay the same. Hell, honestly, 2 through 7 were separated by 3 games total.
Yeah, it was close.
That's
very close.
3 through 6 is probably going to be like that again this year. And I could see the Cavs vying for that.
I was just going to add, like, if we are going with that, the rest of the East got better and they stayed the same, they might fall to 6 through 8 at that point, right? Because, like, if it was, they were all separated by like 3 games and everybody else got better, do they get left behind?
I don't know if they got that much better though. Like I can't say the Magic got that much better than the Cavs were, or that.
No.
The 76ers, that's a team that I could see poised for a jump, and we'll talk about that next week. Obviously, when we get to that division, but I feel like anywhere after your division winners, so what we're looking at 4 through probably 7. They're all like a toss-up to me in the East. So I feel like the Cavs are going to be somewhere around there. And unless they go the route that you were saying, Mike, and they blow this thing up. But I feel like that's indicative that the season didn't start how they wanted it to start.
Yeah.
So they're a question mark. All things considered, that's the biggest thing I got. Is there a question mark?
The worst part, I mean, they're probably third in their own division, right? You would say, or second and third.
Second or third.
I'd say third. I'd put the Pacers above them, and obviously, I think
you have to.
Yeah, you
have to put the Pacers above them.
Yeah, that's fair.
But they do have NBA champion Sam Merrill, so they got that.
That credential is always going to be.
He's responsible for half of the Bucks' rings. I'm just saying.
Well, I'll say this,
and don't forget Tristan Thompson, NBA champion. Is he not an NBA champion?
No.
Yeah.
No.
As a Cav, right? No.
Yeah, as a Cav.
No.
Yeah, the only Cav championship.
We know, like, shout out to RDC. We know good and goddamn well LeBron took everybody's ring, not named
Give me your ring.
Give me your ring. Tristan, give me your ring.
That's a throwback.
No, I disagree with Didge and I agree with Mike. No, not like that. I'm saying because
the way he said it was funny.
I'm sorry. I say it because I feel that looking at this team, their problem is no one outside of Donovan Mitchell has tried to take a step forward, right? No one has improved, right? You look at Evan Mobley and you're like, you should be a lot better than you are. But I think part of what stunts Mobley's growth is that Garland and Donovan are so ball dominant. Like, think about it. Jared Allen, you could argue, was the second best player on this team last year.
Yep.
Like, you can make that argument. And that should not be, well, let me not say that, like Jared Allen's trash, but Mobley should be more of that guy, right? than what he seems to be. I mean, even in the playoffs, it never felt like he was impacting, right? Like it just felt like it was Donovan or bust. And that's really what it came down to, really, is that was Donovan or bust. So for me, I don't see them trading away Donovan. Only reason I say that, Mike, is they went and stole from the Knicks Donovan's guy. One of our assistant coaches that Donovan wanted. Yes. Donovan asked for them to go out and get Johnny Bryant. So I don't see – you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of Aaron Rodgers getting his offensive coordinator. Notice how the head coach got fired? Notice
how they wanted to fire Nathaniel Hackett, and immediately
the head coach got fired.
Was fired.
So the reason why I think Kenny is a smart move is I think people forget because it's been so long, but Kenny was instrumental in helping the quote unquote Nets become cool. You know, remember that whole time where they were cool? That was Kenny. That was Kenny that led that wave with D'Angelo Russell and those kids. Yeah. So he does.
Did those Nets teams ever make the playoffs? I'm almost positive they did.
Yes. Even before they got Durant and Kyrie, they did.
Yep.
So that would have been what, 2019?
Yeah, they were the 8th seed. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why they were fun. Yeah.
I only say that because Kenny was working with straight garbage, and he helped develop that team enough to even make the 8th seed. I mean, you could make a comment about how weak the East was. I'm not here to argue that. But they did. They made it, right? They made it, and then a year after that, they got Durant and Kyrie, and we know what happened from that. But I say that Didge to say I think Kenny was a safe bet because if Kenny doesn't work out, I think they're just going to make Johnny Bryant the head coach, which is what I think Donovan wants.
By the way,
you said what?
It was 2 years after that. The year after they went what? That 8th seed year, they went 28-34, and he resigned mid-season.
Oh, you mean after they made the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what did they lose D'Angelo Russell? Was that the year they lost D'Angelo Russell?
I have no idea what happened that year. I
could have sworn he got traded. He got traded. I could have.
Oh shit! No, I'm sorry. I didn't. I saw the record and didn't assume that Kyrie and Kevin Durant were there. They were there. They just started off terribly.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Because I could have sworn them making the playoffs is what made them look attractive enough that like, hey, we could go there and be even better.
Yeah, and I don't remember they started off that terribly. I guess that's what.
Kyrie, like,
it wasn't terrible. It wasn't their coach. That's all it was.
28-34.
What did you say, Mike?
I said, wasn't Kyrie like out that first year? They were there anyway. I think I'm pretty sure
he was out towards the end of the season. I think he was out towards the end of the season because I remember he wasn't there for the playoffs. It was just
James. Kyrie only played 20 games that year. Mike's right.
Oh, okay. Then there you go.
AD was out too, right? The first year.
I'm pretty sure. I mean,
probably.
I mean, if that the record was, they had to have been.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant at least gets you 20 wins. So
at least. At least. So my thoughts for them is they didn't do anything to get better, and they weren't good enough last year for me to believe development is all they're missing. Right? I do believe Orlando got better. Adding Pope, I do think was a really good move for them. I think last year they lost because of experience. I think experience just got the best of them. I think Orlando comes back with a vengeance this year in terms of now being able to possibly take a step forward. Yeah. So that's why I said I agree with Mike. I might have them around 6, maybe 6.
Yeah.
Because to me, I see the pay. Because think about it, they got Siakam in the middle of the season last year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Same way the Knicks did with OG and Anunoby, right? So you're now talking about a full off season for them to gel a lot better, for them to figure out where they kind of want to pick their spots and whatnot. So I see the Pacers just improving, just off chemistry, just off chemistry. Obviously, you have the Bucks up there.
Chemistry. Plus, Halliburton's going to be healthy this year, right? I mean, that automatically makes you greater.
We'll see. That man can miss some games for sure. You look at the Bucks; that's a chemistry thing. They full off season now. You look at the Sixers, obviously, the Knicks, obviously the Celtics. I have Orlando over the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I say that to say, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Didge. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna. The only reason why I say 6 isn't a change is 4 through 6 was decided by tiebreakers last year.
Mm-hmm.
So the ball bounced the right way for you to get 4 when you very easily could have been 6. I don't know if I consider that much of a downgrade. Like the ball didn't bounce your way this year.
As far as what, Cleveland?
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying if they go to 6, it's not a downgrade from where they were?
I guess it's really just how we're looking at it, because you're not. We all are projecting them in the same range. That's the thing. That's why I don't think anybody's disagreeing. But it's them at 6 is now putting them 4 games behind the 4 seed, as opposed to 1 or 2. You know, that's really all we're. That's all we're saying, is that like they're not as good as those other teams definitively, instead of it being a toss up.
Yeah, fair.
Because like I would say, out of those teams we named, like Pacers and Orlando, Cleveland is the one team I don't give the leeway to, right? Same way I wouldn't give the leeway if Pacers were a 6 seed instead of maybe being top 5.
Also, the Heat. Who knows what's going on with them this season?
The Heat, I always look at to where I'm like, they've done nothing to get better, but they are one of those teams that just like turns it up. And it doesn't matter. So I'm like, we'll see if they're able to get away with that again this year. Or if it's like, no, you got to start paying attention to where you seed and maybe start looking for better talent. But for Cleveland Cavaliers, my last thing on them is Darius Garland will be gone long before Donovan Mitchell is. You cannot trade Donovan Mitchell at this point. Only because Garland, I don't know if he's shown me enough that he can lead this team if there is no Donovan Mitchell. So why would I let go of Donovan Mitchell when I can just let go of Darius Garland, find any kind of point guard to pair with Mitchell, and just ride out Mitchell?
I guess my thing is, again, we just got done talking about the Chicago Bulls and their refusal to rebuild. There is a pathway where Cleveland looks at this and says, Donovan Mitchell is a good player, but he's not going to win us an NBA championship. Which I think we all can agree that he's not that guy.
You're not wrong, but if I'm an organization, why wouldn't I look at it like maybe if I move Garland or maybe if I move Mobley, they can get me a piece that can help Donovan actually make a stride to possibly
what piece besides Nikola Jokic can you get to shake this up, right? Like what can the Cavs do to be better than the Knicks, to be better than the Celtics, to be better than the Bucks, right? Like that's the thing. So I could see them just kicking the can down the road and saying, we can still get a premium, like top 5 pick for this player because he's still in his prime and he's still really good.
I just don't know if 2 years is. I don't know if 2 years is enough for me to say, nah, we can't do it. We can't do it.
That's
just
fair.
2 years in which you gave up to get him. I don't know if you give up, and he's so young. Like it's not even like he's 31, 32, and you're like, all right, well, let's just get rid of him now and see what we can do. I just think you keep the better player and you see what you can get for Garland and Mobley and see if you can't build around Donovan and Jared Allen. Because to me, he's brought you to the playoffs both years. They got to the second round, I believe, both years. No, first year he got to the first round and Knicks bounced him out. Sorry. He got to the second round last year. Because I think he's only been there 2 years, right?
Yeah, they knocked out.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
They knocked out the Magic, right? That's what it was.
Yeah,
they knocked out the Magic.
And that was in 7.
It was.
Right, exactly, and a nail biter.
It wasn't easy.
Right, it was not. They worked very hard, but
7-game series on NBA TV is crazy.
They're very crazy.
That's wild.
But no, my point is, I just don't see how you say, nope, didn't work, we're moving on. I think it's just way too early. And he's made the All-Star game, I believe, both years he's been there. He's taking you to the playoffs both years you've been there. You didn't struggle to get there. You were a comfortable seed. I don't know if you tell that organization that had to watch LeBron leave twice that you're going to say goodbye to another All-Star, right? And because that team's not shown a good ability to rebuild, right? Like they've shown a good ability to bounce back, whether it's going out and trading for someone and whatnot. But for me, I'm not giving up. If I'm Cleveland, I'm not giving up on Donovan Mitchell. I'm trading the younger kids before I even look Donovan's way.
I agree. I mean, you don't invest what they did in Donovan to give up on him now. I mean, that's your best piece. I don't see the point rebuilding. Like, he's young enough where you could still do something with him.
Mm.
And it's like you said, maybe you could give up Garland, maybe even Mobley or somebody, and get like a second option, a better second option. Because right now they don't even know what the second option is. Sometimes it's Garland, sometimes it's, they don't know. I don't even. I can't even give you a legit like who's after Donovan. Who you running
to? Right. I think I'm with you, Mike. If they show that they're starting to regress, right? Mm-hmm. Like if the seeding is getting lower, right? Or if it seems like they can't catch up to the rest of the East. To me, I think this team can be very competitive. They're just not championship competitive, right? So it's like we've seen a bunch of franchises say, fuck it, I'll take competitive. You know what I'm saying? I know we ain't going to win a championship. That sucks, but
they're taking
us to the playoffs.
They're a good team. No, I'm not saying they're bad.
They're not bad, but you just need your pieces to – like,
they're not.
LeVert has to be – right. Karis LeVert has to be in that conversation for Sixth Man of the Year this year. Yeah, he has to. He really, really, really has to. And Donovan,
I don't look at
what you do, man.
Yeah, not to rehash the same point, but like if I'm the Cavs, I can't like you have Donovan Mitchell and that's great, but like on the other side of the court, I'm looking at Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, or Dame and Giannis, or Cat and Brunson. You know, and it's like, what are you gonna do? What can you do to actually compete for a chip? And I think that's the angle I'm looking at it from. Like being competitive, sure, yeah, they'll always be competitive.
On the flip side of that, Mike, my response to that on the flip side is, Cat was acquired through trade. Paul George was acquired through trade. Yep. I mean, technically free agent, but you know, my point is, these pieces aren't homegrown. They're not pieces they already have outside of Boston. You had to go get Giannis and Dame. You had to go get Dame, right? So I'm like, it might be time for Cleveland to start looking at their team the way Giannis and the Bucks were looking at theirs, where it's like, we got to go make a move. And you don't make that move by getting rid of your best player. You make that move by seeing what you can divvy off to maybe make that team better. Who knows what might become available.
And to my original point, I said one of these dudes are getting traded. I don't zero in on Mitchell, but like I don't think this roster stays the same.
I think it has to be. I agree.
I'm with you there.
I think it has to be Garland because like right now he's technically your second option and that's not going to be good enough.
I mean, he wasn't last year. Last year, you could say it was Jared Allen. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
But I do remember reports halfway through the season that said if Donovan stays, Darius wanted out. And it sounded like vice versa. So it kind of feels like they're going to just see how it goes. If it seems rocky, they're going to pull the trigger immediately. They're going to. And I don't know who you can put with Donovan and Jared Allen. I don't know. I don't know who becomes available, but things pop up out of nowhere all the time. So they might strike gold. We'll see.
Trae Young.
We will see.
Oh, God.
You put Trae Young with Donovan Mitchell, you might look around the same thing. Like,
I was going to say, I don't know how much they changed.
It doesn't change whatsoever. That's what makes it hilarious.
And I think they went to get better offensively. That's for sure.
Yeah, you'd win games for sure, but I mean, I don't know, man. It'd be weird. You know what it'd be? It'd be the poorest man's Stephen Clay. It'd be the poorest of poor man's Stephen Clay. That's what it would look like.
You'd need a hell of a defensive front court to make up for that.
Oh, man.
They'd still be over a poor man Stephen Clay. A poor man Stephen Clay was Brandon Jennings and Monte Ellis. So we lived through that.
Good times. Man, they were small.
Oh, man.
Such a small backcourt.
It was.
God damn.
I like Montel. Like prime Montel is good though. Like, all right, so let's move on from Cleveland. Let's leave the land. Let's enter the Motor City, the Detroit Pistons. Woo. All right.
This team won 15 games last year.
Nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, I mean, got it.
No, you can say the same.
14 games. I'm sorry.
I want to say, we'll see. Let's go through it and we'll figure it out. Anyway, Detroit projected starters, at least what I have is the projected starters. Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, Tobias Harris, Jalen Duren. Bench made up of Isaiah Stewart, Tim Hardaway Jr., Ron Holland II, the rookie they drafted, Simone Fatencio, Marcus Sasser, Malik Beasley, all guys I expect to get at least some minutes this year. Some key losses: James Wiseman, that experiment didn't work out. Quentin Grimes, the guy they got through trade and ended up trading again, so they got something back. Evan Fournier, they lost to free agency. That was more of a money move anyway. Key additions, if you want to call them a key addition. Tobias Harris, they needed to spend money. Tim Hardaway
Hold up. Before we start dissing the key additions, should we even if you're a 14-win team, are these dudes key losses?
No,
I was gonna ask, but we let other teams go with their key addition or key losses.
Yeah, they were in the rotation. If they weren't in the rotation, I wouldn't even have brought it up. But they played with it.
We talked about the Wizards' key losses last week, so I was just gonna let it rock.
Yeah. Again, if they were in the rotation, I mentioned them. So key additions: Tobias Harris, who I expect to start this year. Tim Hardaway Jr. Who was it? I had moments where he was really good 6-man. Let's see if he does that again this year, or maybe
he had the season where he was a really good 6-man. He disappeared in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, that's what he does. That's unfortunately. Malik Beasley, another guy who was. You guys could speak to that, but I thought he was a figurehead as a starter and then fell off as well. And then you have Ron Holland, who I think they like a lot. We'll have to wait and see. But Detroit, man, I do believe they'll be maybe a little bit better. Hopefully, 100% just totally because they're young guys who got more experience. They have decent veterans, like in terms of guys that won't get in the way. Like no stove tipping. They'll probably run a lot through, at least offensively, Tobias Harris, who can now not complain. That now he'll be the number 2 option on this team, number 3 option. Even though that's what he was before, but now he's a vet. They'll be looking to him for more of the guidance. Though I'm not sure what to expect from Tobias Harris. Again, he was a former Pistons, not his first thrill to go around in the city. So this is interesting. I'm very curious where they go and how they. I don't know if this is exactly how that's going to play out in terms of the starting 5, but I think they may want more shooting, so I wouldn't be surprised if they end up starting Hardaway or Beasley. But we'll see. Juwaan, what do you think of the Detroit Pistons?
Give us a win-loss total.
Yikes. I'd rather say nice things than to go down.
No,
I've got a hot take. I
want to hear this. Hold on.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
The Detroit Pistons double their win total this season. That's how good they're going to be. 28 wins.
I'll say this. No. Hold on. I'll say this, Mike. And I'll say this. They can be good. Good as in an improvement from what they looked like last year. But it's going to depend on what Cade Cunningham are we getting? Is Jaden Ivey going to figure out what his role is for this team? Will Tobias Harris remember how to play basketball? Find out next week on an all-new Dragon Ball Z. No, but it's a talented roster. Like, it's not a bad roster. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's a good roster. They just don't know what to do with said roster. So I'm like, I could look at this and go, oh, they'll be as trash as they were last year. But they could be good. I don't know. I know Cade Cunningham has the talent. I know Jalen has the talent. I know Jaden has the talent. Tim Hardaway and Malik Beasley are nice pieces. I've always liked Isaiah. He's a throwback player for me. He's just someone that comes in and is just like, I'll kill people. Anyone you want me to kill. Like, I'll do it.
You do not take the stream down. It was a joke.
It was in jest. But no, so I like this roster. What Tobias Harris are you getting? Are you getting a Tobias Harris that in the series against the Knicks essentially wasn't even on the court? The Sixers were essentially playing 4-on-5. That's how bad Tobias Harris was.
Do we think Tobias Harris steps up now that he's like he's going to be more of a focal point now that he doesn't have to play with Joel Embiid?
Let me say,
reset brain?
Let me say no, only because Joel Embiid was injured a lot, and there were games where you could have stepped up, and I feel like he just never did. I feel like not leaving, but being traded from Orlando, I feel like when he went to Detroit the first time, it was a little something there where you're like, okay,
oh my God, I forgot.
Yeah, this is homecoming, where he had flashes where you're like, man, Tobias Harris is really good. Joel, I know you remember there was a time where we were like, I wouldn't mind Tobias Harris to be a Knick.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind at all. And then we thank God every day he was never a Knick. But for me, it all depends on what will you get from your veterans, because you got to imagine your youth might still be youthing. So what will you get out of your veterans? And you got quite a few of them now. So that's my biggest thing. I don't know. I think this roster is extremely talented.
By the way,
that's enough.
Quite a few is more than 3 in my book, but
what do you consider? Okay, all right. Well,
I would have said 5 or 6 is quite a few.
Okay, you got a couple dudes, that's old as hell.
But that's
so yeah. To me, it depends on your veterans. So I don't know, but I do think Cade Cunningham can have a really explosive year this year. I just don't know how much that will equate into team wins as much as it will us looking at Cade going, that kid's great. So
it's open. I don't know if I like Cade and Jaden starting together. I don't know if they complement each other well enough. I mean,
I like it if you can get Jaden to really lock in defensively. Be my defensive anchor. Like be my defensive guy that helps me not have to worry about defending a lot.
And you also don't have any other guard combo that you can put with this team.
I mean,
yeah,
you do.
Like, I think Hardaway or Beasley slide into that 2-guard spot, but that's not ideal.
That's not an ideal start.
No. If you're saying, Didge, that no one is better, like no one will make you better that's on this roster, I don't disagree. But I do believe Beasley and Hardaway are way better fits than Jaden.
To start?
Playing next to Cade. Not on any other team in the NBA. But for this specific team playing next to Cade, I think Cade needs a guy he could just kick out to. Not a guy he kicks out to that pump fakes and tries to drive it. Like, no, shoot it, dog. That's why I passed it. So I think they're just better suited fitting Cade. But yes, I agree with you. They're not better alternatives. I just think they're better fits.
They're better at not being in the way.
Yes.
and that's fair. Malik Beasley, he's too hit or miss for me. Obviously, like you said, we just dealt with him last year. He had flashes of greatness.
Not dealt. That's so pessimistic.
he had flashes of goodness. Is that better?
Greatness? Then why you get rid of him?
Is that better?
Flashes of decentness.
Let's
they eventually benched him for Patrick Beverly. That's why.
Who's not even in the league?
Greatness?
Let's take it down a couple notches. Like Mike said, he had flashes of decentness.
You notice how 2 former Bucks are on this team, and I didn't refer to them as Bucks legends like Sam Merrill because they provided nothing of value in 3 years.
Is it? It is.
Tobias Harris.
I forgot he was in Milwaukee. Oh my god,
wow.
that was a rookie. I think he was drafted by Milwaukee.
Yeah, we drafted him, and then we got like Giannis a season or 2 later, and it's like we're done. We're good.
Wait, Tobias? No, Orlando drafted Tobias Harris.
No, I'm pretty sure Milwaukee did. Let me look.
You sure?
We did.
I swear to God, I thought they drafted Tobias Harris.
So
no,
I
think Tobias.
Orlando.
I think he went to another team before Orlando.
Did he?
No, you're right. He was drafted by Milwaukee and then traded to Orlando.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, I don't remember ever seeing him play in the Milwaukee Bucks.
He definitely did.
He started 9 games that first year. I'm not going to sit here and act like he was a full season starter. He started 9 games. I think it says he played 42. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember all 42 of those.
So wait, Giannis was after Tobias?
Yeah,
Do you know what that was, Didge? You know what that was? That was the basketball gods going, yeah, we did y'all wrong. My bad.
Do you know what's crazy?
that Ilyasova year? Was he there?
It was 2011. So 2011 going to the 2012 season. So
he played 2 seasons. He played 2012 and then 2013. And 2013 is when we drafted Giannis. Right?
Yeah.
So the basketball gods were like, sorry, we gave you guys Tobias Harris as your first draft pick last year. Here's Giannis Antetokounmpo. But anyway, the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, back to Detroit.
I don't know. Like we keep talking about how they have a lot of great young guys. We're assuming that these young guys, that they're going to pan out. But we've talked about many a young team already during these 6 weeks that they haven't panned out yet. So I think I'm going to go with what Mike said. They're going to get marginally better by doubling their win total. But that's still going from 14 to 28 games. That's still not good. That means you still lost over 50 games. Right. And I feel like that's definitely their ceiling.
Yeah, it really comes down to those young dudes. And like you were just saying, I don't think we've seen enough to think they're going to make that big of a leap. I will say, unlike some of the other divisions you guys talked about in the previous weeks, we did see them play. The other day, and they looked okay, and I think it was really beneficial having more shooters on the floor. It really comes down to what do you get out of Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway. I think is going to be like the biggest difference maker. If you get a decent season out of both of them, you might be able to get to 35 wins. Again, their ceiling's still not that high.
32.
But
I'm going 32 wins.
Right.
That's still 50 losses. I want to make sure we talk about the other side of that coin.
I'm not saying they're making the playoffs, Didge. Just saying 32 wins. That's it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but if they can get decent shooting around Cade, I think they can string something together. But it keeps coming down to, what does Tobias Harris give you? What does Malik Beasley give you? What does Tim Hardaway Jr. give you? And it's like we've reached the point where I don't know if the young guys are ever going to be good enough to make up for that. We've seen great players be on bad teams. LeBron is the peak example of every Cavaliers team was a number 1 seed, even though they were garbage. I don't think anybody on this roster is going to get anywhere near that level where Cade can drag them to an 8th seed. That's the thing.
I don't disagree with you, but the Pistons are a prime example of why Chicago should not rush, or Cleveland should not rush to trying to rebuild. Shit's difficult, dog. Shit's real difficult, man. Think about it. The last time the Pistons were good, they were led by Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin.
Oh, we count that as good? I was going to say Ben Wallace. Damn.
No. That
Ben
was
Wallace
great. That was great.
That was great.
They won a championship.
Let me see when the last time the Pistons made the playoffs.
It depends on what we count as good. Because again, I don't count 8th seed as good. Because you're just gonna get trampled by the Heat or the Bucks.
No. You gotta start somewhere, and making the playoffs is always a good start.
So that was 2018. Who was their leading scorer that year?
Higher than 8th seed is my point, though. If they were a 6th seed, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, that's what you should root for.
You said 6. Andre Drummond was also on that team. Higher than 8th seed. Damn, I think you might be right, Mike.
Probably.
Right with what, Didge?
It ain't
2005.
07.
Was what, last time they were higher than 8th seed?
Yeah, because I
think was 10 years old. That's
Dang.
so bad. That's so bad.
Dang.
That was during the Ben Wallace years, right?
Yeah, that might have been Ben Wallace's. That might have been that whole team's last run
when LeBron
together.
Pushed them to 7 or whatever.
Yeah, and they ended up losing to the. They ended up losing to the Celtics, the Big Three, in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think that was that team's last run.
Yeah,
that was also the Celtics' last run in the ironically.
Well, no, because they went back the next year and they just happened to lose to LA. Because it was a repeat.
Remember, Celtics last year was when Bron destroyed them in Miami. That was the Celtics last year.
So yeah, no, I think you're right. 28 wins, seems right for them. You know, they can celebrate. Look, we are getting better. We are getting somewhere. And I'm gonna let you know it's not going to be any of those additions because Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Malik Beasley not getting them that. It's going to be those young.
It might be your only way. It might be your only way. Because I can tell you right now, I ain't seen much from anyone outside of Cade Cunningham that I can say, yeah, no, they can definitely turn it up a notch. I'm just assuming the veterans can do veteran shit. That's all I'm saying.
I can assure you that Malik Beasley cannot.
This is a man who had 2 points in that final game. He ain't getting you nothing.
Poor Malik Beasley.
Oh boy,
he's
appreciated somewhere in this world.
He was appreciated that 1 year in Minnesota where they paid him the money. I mean, he was
Milwaukee.
He was
we didn't appreciate him.
Mike had his jersey.
Dang.
I don't have anybody's jersey. I don't even have Giannis jersey in my closet, bro. The only jersey in my closet is Morgan. There you go.
There you go.
Well, there you go.
That's right. All right. So let's get out of the Motor City. That was depressing. No, let's go to.
Yeah. We almost busted out the I8 basketball shirts.
Oh my God.
Let's move on to Indiana, where we have the Pacers. All right. So this is not a lot of movement here. Obviously, they were a good team last year. They made it pretty far last year.
Oh, that's where James Weissman ended up. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going from the last slide to this one, that was really helpful.
Because I was sure wondering it, and I was like, I'll ask eventually.
The projected starters, same as last year: Tyrese Halliburton, Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Naismith, Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner. The bench will be basically the same. The return of Bennedict Mathurin, he was hurt for most of last year. He was their sixth man. T.J. McConnell, Obi Toppin, Isaiah Jackson, and Ben Shepherd on his second year. Key loss, Jalen Smith, even though he was kind of splitting minutes with Isaiah Jackson most of the year. And they brought in James Wiseman to do the same thing, even though I doubt he'll be splitting as much. Then you have the Pacers. Again, they didn't make any crazy addition aside from now they'll have Mathurin back 100% healthy, hopefully, for them. That'll be big if he stays healthy because that was the biggest thing they were missing in the playoffs was having him back. But I mean, if all things stay the same, they were a good team last year. They'll probably be a good team again this year. They'll be up and down. That's how they are. But we'll see. I mean, Mike, how do you feel about the Indiana Pacers?
I feel a lot of things about the Indiana Pacers, but we're going to put those aside.
You can say them. You're free to say them. Please do.
Okay, so the Pacers are a strange team to me because we all know that they're good, but their playoff run was so fluky that I don't know how good I don't know what their ceiling actually is, right? Like, Eastern Conference Finals, Indiana Pacers, is that a real thing, or is it because their two opponents were hurt? You know, like, is that a thing that
was big?
Well, you know, so not going up against the Bucks at full strength or the Knicks at full strength kind of makes me question how good this team actually was or what their potential can be. That said, like, I don't think record-wise they're going to be any worse than they were last year. I think they're going to be better. Like, Pascal Siakam for a full season, hopefully a healthy Tyrese Halliburton for a full season, I think is going to be a big difference for them. I don't know if Halliburton's going to take much of a leap this year. He might be more of the same as he was last year, especially if Olympic basketball was any indication. It's like, yeah, you know, he couldn't outplay 40-year-old LeBron James or Steph Curry, and I get that, but we'll see. Neither could Jason Tatum, so maybe it's not that big of a knock.
Yeah, Tatum was in and out of the lineup. It was weird. It was very weird.
It was so strange. But yeah, I think the Pacers will be another 50-win team again. What they do in the postseason is going to be the biggest question for me. And again, every other team I think did improve. And the Pacers, this is pretty much the same roster, though I think, like Juwaan was saying at the top of the show, chemistry-wise, they definitely are going to take a jump there. So maybe that's all they need. I don't know.
Yeah, that helps. Consistency helps. Sometimes too many new pieces. It takes a while to,
get
start
it all back together.
You need to grease the wheels a little bit because you're not used to playing this together.
Grease the wheels.
Anyway, Didge, how do you feel about the Indian? I know you like them, so tell me something about the
I
Pacers.
will. That Mike didn't want to say. Fuck the Pacers. Fuck Tyrese Halliburton. He is not a credit to Wisconsin. He's never allowed back in Wisconsin. Oshkosh better get rid of him.
Yeah.
All that aside.
No. More.
What he said.
Talk about the way he dressed.
I forgot about that.
That's no better.
No, it's not. I do think that they're probably though. They're going to obviously vie for the division title. As much as I hate to say it, they vied for it last year. The consistency is probably only going to get better. But I do want to talk about with Tyrese Halliburton the inconsistency that he had last year, especially in the playoffs. He wasn't the reason they got as far as they did a lot of the times. Pascal Siakam was.
So, and here's my question, Didge, because like it's still on what you're talking about, but like how much of that is Halliburton was hurt, or Halliburton's just inconsistent as hell? Also, what DJV said, what is it? The braids?
I think he was fairly healthy though. I don't think he missed any games in the playoffs. I feel like this might be Pascal's team. Like I know Halliburton's the young. He's probably who they want to be the main player. You know, he's I think like in the public eyes they want him to be the eye of the team. But Pascal Siakam, they sort of rose and fall with him. Like when he played well, they were killing it. When he wasn't playing well, nobody else was doing enough, Tyrese Halliburton included, to keep them in games. Like in some of the games where they beat Milwaukee, where they beat New York, I think they only won one game against Boston, and that's where everybody's talking about his health. He lost. That's where he got injured in the Boston series. So you went 2 full series, and even in games where you weren't,
he was allegedly hurt throughout in those other 2 series.
That is true.
But, you know,
well,
like,
to be fair, what Didge is saying is factual proof to it. It's not like an opinion. If you watch the New York Knicks series against the Pacers, OG Anunoby for 2 games essentially took Pascal Siakam out of the Pacers lineup. Think about game 3. From game 3 on, the Knicks had no answer for Pascal Siakam's size, ability to shoot and rebound. They had no answer for it. It was the same Pacers in game 1 and game 2 where the Knicks were running away with it. Game 3, when we had no OG Anunoby all the way through to game 7, it was very difficult for the Knicks. And because Pascal Siakam was dogging them.
He had flashes of it because I think in one of the games he put up like 36. One of the games he put up 35. They lost that game.
Yep.
Because OG was, like you said, locking up Siakam.
Yep.
So it's I'm not this isn't a Tyrese Halliburton hate train. I do think he's a talented player. It's still fuck him, but
I guess my whole thing is if what you're saying is right, and that like what we saw was the real Halliburton, right? Not like this Halliburton at 60%. My projection for them lowers significantly then, because it's like I'm assuming peak Halliburton is like all-star Halliburton in the first half of the season, not what we got in the second half of the season. And so instead of competing for, a top 4 seed, they're now in 5 through 6 with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Well, I will say I kind of push back on that a little bit. I think the reason why Siakam is so important, I think Halliburton gets you to the postseason. Siakam has the ability to take you further, right? I think Siakam is clearly the better player, but I don't think Siakam has the legs for 82 games. I think the grind of it is what you want Halliburton to do, the guy that can set the table, get everyone together and whatnot. It's funny he plays in Indiana because you could call the man Peyton Manning, right? You could say he's very much the guy that can get you there, right? Get you close, but then you do need someone that can get you over that hump once you get there, right? So for me, I kind of look at the Pacers to where that team is suited to where if you can – and remember, Joel pointed this out to me when we were watching the playoffs together last year. Pacers were missing a very important piece of their team last year in that playoff run. Not important like game changer, but a really good piece they were missing. So I'm like, I think with this team getting healthy and whatever Haliburton was going through, I think he's healthy. I didn't seen this man jump over a top rope on SmackDown twice, so his back better be good. I think their thing is just health, but Didge makes such a great point I don't hear anyone talking about, which is Pascal Siakam is probably the best player on that team, but in the regular season, you need Tyrese to get you there, and then Siakam to turn it up to get you where you need to be.
Even I know to your point, Mike, about his early season All-Star run, it was really a hell of a November. Like November, I think he averaged like 29 and 12. He didn't get close to that the rest of the year. Any other month, he had a hell of a November that it's early in the season, so everybody's eyes are really fresh on the NBA. There was the
also we had
tournament.
The tournament probably helped a lot.
So there were a lot of eyes on that, and everybody's like, "Yo, he's killing it early this year." And it's like, no, he had a hell of a run. And don't get me wrong, the rest of the months were good. He had to I think it was like 21 and 9, like averaging the rest of the months, but it's 28 and 11 to 21 and 9 are crazy differences.
Yeah, and he's a really good starting point guard, but he's not the, series winning player that you would need him to be.
Yes, 100%. And I think that's where I'm like, they're gonna vie for the division title. Obviously, and you could call it bias or whatever. Obviously, I have Milwaukee over them. But when it comes to the playoffs, I think they right, seriously. I think when it comes to the playoffs, to Juwan's point, they're going to live and die with where Siakam can get them.
Yeah, that's not a bad estimation. He did average 20.1, so 20 points, basically 11 rebounds, 10.9. Assists, 10.9 assists, and 4 rebounds, basically 3.9 rebounds. So
that's a hell of a point guard.
Yeah, that's a hell of a point guard. I think he led the league in assists, so that's not bad. That's very good, especially for your point guard. He's got great court vision, that's no doubt. And when he gets on, man, he is on, annoyingly on. And he talks a lot of shit for a frail little bastard. So,
God damn.
I'm just saying.
But
when you
oh god.
Anyway, it's just one of those guys that get under everyone's skin. Like I don't know why, because he's not he's not threatening looking at all. He's just annoying looking. Is what it is. He's like
not annoying looking. Damn,
he's annoying looking. He's a good player, and he's like you just want to shut him up.
That's crazy.
He's just one of those.
No, but I guess because you guys were talking about Siakam, right?
Yes.
How many points was Siakam averaging in the playoffs for that Pacers team?
Let me go back to it. I had it up.
The only reason I ask is we know they're going to be a good regular season team. It really comes down to postseason because every other team got bigger, right? Like the Knicks went out their way and got, Cat. Giannis is actually going to play ideally for the Bucks, and then they got destroyed by the Celtics. So that's my thing of like, it to me, it still comes down to how well does Tyrese Haliburton play? Because if Siakam is the guy that needs to help them in the postseason, I feel like if all teams are healthy, those 4 teams that were above them are probably still gonna beat them in a 7-game series anyway.
He had 21 and 8. So even still, like it wasn't like he was world beating. I think it was more so his defensive presence too, though.
Yeah,
he was taking over games.
Right, but I think I think that's something that I know a lot of people when they talk sports, they got to understand it's all incumbent, right? Like whenever you say someone's a better player, it's never just necessarily one-sided, right? It's everything. It's everything that makes Siakam not. Again, I'm very glad that me and Didge were very careful in what we said. He is a better player. We did not say he is a way better player. He is just a better player.
I guess my entire point is like I feel like again the road that they walked, like they played a lot of hurt teams.
For sure.
I feel like Siakam took advantage of, Julius Randle not really, being there, OG or Giannis. And it's like those are the positions that he'd be going up against.
Mhm.
So I wonder how far again this team goes, because if again, assuming everybody's healthy, Giannis hasn't been healthy in the playoffs for 2 years in a row. So knock on wood, assuming that the Bucks are healthy in that instance, right? Those are just the questions I still have about Indiana.
You're not wrong. It was a size problem that the Knicks couldn't answer going up against the Pacers. I won't speak on the Bucks because I didn't the series, but I know for the Knicks it was size. That's why
when you miss a Giannis, it's a size problem already
for sure.
So
gotcha. Well,
whether you
the
watch
only
it or
reason
not,
I didn't want to speak was because I know Bobby started, so I'm like that should nullify it. Josh Hart was playing 4 for us. So it's like that's what I mean by size.
It doesn't because Bobby wasn't able to command the presence that Giannis can.
Right.
Oh, right.
He also backs up Giannis and Brooke. So you're still gonna have like if Brooke Lopez isn't out there, you're still playing super small.
You're playing, your bench is small as fuck. I mean, it's still small as fuck. We'll get to them soon. But the Bucks without Giannis, they're definitely small but Giannis is basically also a center. So it's like, and your center plays outside. It's like one of those things. So it's like,
right.
He's 6'12".
He's a really good. Fucking what's his name? I already forgot his name. Siakam. Siakam is one of those guys that's just really good at his size and hard to stop. He's very hard to 6'9", agile. He can play small forward and power forward, even center. He's done all 3 spots in his career, which is crazy. That's how versatile he is, and that's hard to match up with, especially when Bobby is more of just a natural big man, like 4 or 5.
Right.
Stretch 5 is really what he is. Right?
My hot take for the Pacers before we move on is TJ McConnell becomes a starter
over Nembhard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Of course not over Tyrese.
Hot take. So I'm like, that's a hot ass take. That Tyrese would regress. That'd be interesting to see. Because I think you kind of would want TJ to come off the bench.
The spark.
Yeah. Because until Obi Toppin live up to that contract he just got, TJ's your spark. So I know they would want Obi to be, but TJ's your spark. I can go very quickly, Joel. We can move right on to the Bucks. I completely agree with Didge. There we go.
Wow. I don't even remember what Didge said. No, I'm kidding. So we can move on to the Bucks then. That's fine. We did talk enough about the Pacers regardless.
I'm gonna turn my hat around.
Oh boy. Anyway, next team is
just in case people didn't know.
I respect that Didge had the hat backwards for the other teams. He didn't have to do that.
He was ready. So please bring up the next team then, if you don't mind. I'm about to say, I'm like, did he finagle it so it has a special entrance or whatever?
The screen gets dark.
It is a PowerPoint. I wasn't sure what was coming. Okay, so let's talk the Milwaukee Bucks, my projected starters and the bench, and of course some key losses and additions. Starters, as I see it at least, are Damian Lillard, Gary Trent Jr., Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Brooke Lopez. Some key losses: the infamous Malik Beasley, as we were talking about earlier, Patrick Beverley, Jay Crowder, and the always special Thanasis Antetokounmpo. And then of course the nasty did not make the team this year. Key additions: Gary Trent Jr. I thought that was a crazy get, and I didn't expect someone like that to fall into their eyes, but here we are. Taurean Prince, a very solid bench piece, and same thing with Delon Wright. I always like Delon Wright, and another solid bench piece. So they did, to me, they did well. If anything, those are pluses compared to what they lost. So. The Bucks injury really has hampered them the last 2 years, especially in the playoffs.
Injury is still hurting us. Middleton, they don't know if he's going to start the season.
Really?
Bodega Cat, can you block DJV?
Oh no! What do you say
in the chat? Thank you.
Oh yeah, get him out of here.
Let me say.
What are you saying, man?
Banned.
Oh, Word.
Man,
Let's star this. Let's favorite this. Yeah.
Now, we have 2 Bucks fans in the house today, which I know is hard to find outside of Milwaukee, but they exist.
you know what? I didn't sign up for all this.
Oh, wait till next week. I got all my finest New York hate.
Relax. No hate here. We're just
Look, just know, Didge, we're assimiling the Nick Vengers, so you can try to bring all the hate you want.
Are you? Are y'all?
y'all?
Last I heard, y'all were assimiling the Nova Nixon. We see how well that worked out.
Nah, it's not. It's now the Bodega Nick Vengers. That's what we are. We're the Bodega Nick Vengers. Yes,
So I guess I'll jump in since we're losing the thread here. Key losses. None of these are a key loss. None of these are a key loss.
The only one I would be marginally sad about is Jay Crowder, and he didn't do enough for me to like really care.
What? So we're just gonna disrespect Thanasis?
Yeah, that's the one I thought.
Thanasis is gonna be there. Thanasis is gonna be
Thanasis,
behind the bench.
I put on there because I thought it would be funny.
Thanasis wants a coaching shirt on.
Right.
I mean, if Rajon Rondo can wear a coaching shirt, why can't Thanasis?
Right. He's gonna be the Udonis Haslem of this team. Like,
bro, is that Thanasis in a button up? It's like, yeah, man, he's coaching these days. Like, damn.
What's crazy is he's only not on this roster because he tore his Achilles. That's the crazy part. It's
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Is he still recovering? Is that what it is?
Yeah, he tore it over the summer, so they're like, he's not playing this season, so they just didn't bring him back.
Smart. Go recover. We're not paying for that, but go recover.
We're not paying for that shit, but yeah, you go ahead. You do
You're
you,
on Giannis's insurance.
Your brother's rich. Go live at his house.
I think the Bucks are going to be way better this year. Mainly because they had a whole coaching issue last year, and injuries, and Dame was out of shape, and like all that BS is just gone. Like, I know nobody here is like a mega fan of Doc Rivers, but like I think the Bucks as a team are gonna improve a lot. I don't think it'll be reflected record wise. Like I think they're still a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. So like I don't think they're gonna be number 1, or anything like that. I don't think anything crazy. But I think they're going to be a lot better. They are going to get out the first round, which is sad that the bar is that low now after the last 2 seasons. But yeah, Dame looked really good in the preseason. He and Giannis, I think, are going to be a lot better fit. I think Gary Trent Jr. is just not even a question if he's better than Malik Beasley or Patrick Beverley at the 2 guard once he comes back.
For sure.
And then coming off the bench, I think Taurean Prince and DeLon Wright again are better than the guys that they had last year. So better coach, better players, more time for those superstars to gel.
Papa John's. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So
52, 55 wins is probably where I think the Bucks would land.
Yeah.
I'll jump in, obviously. I'm going to jump in with a trade that I think should happen.
What the fuck?
Oh, God. Hold on. We got to break out the trade machine on ESPN.
I think Pat Connaughton should go.
Oh, okay.
Of course he should, but who do you trade him for?
Right.
You give him and a 2nd-round pick to the Clippers and bring in Chris Dunn.
Well, they just
do we have picks?
We have a 2nd-round pick we can give up, and I feel like, look, the Clippers are just assembling picks right now. They built their roster around where pieces they think it could work. Pat, when he's on, can give them a good 3-point shot, can kind of give some defense. But on the flip side, where I'm really saying that we should do it is because Chris Dunn will give us a lot of good perimeter defense. I'm gonna be honest. This is a trade that I've been seeing rumors about for the past couple of weeks already. Anyway, and I've been really excited about hearing it. To Mike's point, this team is really just about our superstars gelling. Dame didn't work out all last season, like all off season last year, because he was assuming he was going to get traded, which obviously it happened, but he didn't work out because of that.
Right.
So that combined with all of our coaching stuff, combined with just the health as we got into the year, it was just like a perfect storm for us to not really have a great season. Ideally, none of that will happen. I'm really worried about this Middleton thing. the fact that he's coming into the season already kind of hobbled is rough.
I will say with Chris Middleton though, like he didn't seem concerned. Like it was
Fair.
just like a routine like procedure, and he's already doing like 5-on-5 next week. I think he said so. I think he's gonna be okay.
That's good at least.
What was it?
He hurt his ankle against the Pacers, and
I think it was like cleanup surgery. Like from
gotcha.
Yeah. So I mean, ankle surgery is always scary for an NBA player, but like all things considered, I think I don't think he misses that much time.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm hoping not. Again, to repeat what Mike said, all of our additions are massively steps up from our losses. Malik Beasley didn't really do much for us. Pat Bev was just sort of there to be an annoyance. Jay Crowder,
for everybody, not just the other team.
seriously. Jay Crowder, it got so bad at one point we thought he left the team. Like he was just inactive for a good chunk of the season for no reason because he's out of here, and then all of a sudden he was back. So there was a lot of weirdness going on with there, and then Thanasis is just there, to kick it with his brother.
Right.
So
he was cheerleader.
You
always need one. I don't care what.
Right, for sure. And like I said, Thanasis will just be behind. Instead of sitting on the bench, he'll be on courtside. He'll be our Spike Lee. That's what now
he's gonna be a celebrity kiss.
Can Simone Biles be our Spike Lee instead? She's a Bucks fan.
I mean, I'm here for it.
Okay.
But no, I like I said, the main thing, because I feel like everything else is about gelling and just getting the chemistry right. I'm here to push the Pat Pat Connaughton for Chris Dunn trade. Let us get Chris Dunn, and I think that helps our defense so much more. And I feel like that's where we lost our identity at, and that's what we need back.
I get it. I mean, I don't know if Clippers are going to give up on him that quickly. They did just get him.
No, man. Look.
Yeah, I literally can't use the trade machine because it's like he's not eligible for trade until December 14th.
You gotta wait.
I couldn't even try it.
They literally just signed him like recently. It wasn't that long ago. I'm like, oh fuck Chris Dunn. I'm like, I don't know. They're as enthused, but we'll see. I mean,
look, man. We're talking. Yeah, it'd obviously be a trade deadline trade, but look, man. We got to hype up Pat Connaughton for
you guys got Delon Wright. I like Delon Wright. Gary Trent Jr. I like Gary Trent Jr. Tarian Prince can play like 2 through 4. I mean, so it's just you brought in good depth in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you guys see your bench? I'm more curious about that.
Yeah, that's my concern for this Bucks team is this roster's better than last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But depth is still a major problem if one of those 2 stars goes down, right? If Dame goes down, I like DeLon Wright. I don't like him that much.
An all-star point guard, that's for sure.
And if Giannis goes down, it's up to Dame to carry the team at that point. And I hate to think like this, but this is how the Bucks have been. So it's worst case scenario, if one of these dudes is out, I don't know if I trust the Bucks bench enough because those young guys aren't any good. Like Marjon Beauchamp and Andre Jackson Jr. and AJ Green, and it's they're okay, but I don't know if they'd be good enough to fill that hole. That's why you end up falling on Pat Connaughton because it's he's the best in a worst case situation.
Marjon was so bad, Joel didn't even have him on the bench.
I just don't. I mean, looking at this at full strength, where do you see minutes from Marjon?
That's ideally what we want, right? But I feel like he'd still be him and Andre Jackson probably the backup 3s.
I always see them play Andre Jackson over him, so that's why I put Andre Jackson in there.
Yeah, but that's my point of they're that interchangeable where it's the rookie stole his minutes already, and Andre Jackson Jr. is not even that good. He can't shoot worth a dang. So
that's sad. Sad to hear. What do they play mostly? He's just a forward.
Yeah, he's playing 2 guard, small forward. He's basically just guard on the other wing. That's all.
Gotcha.
That's the only value he brings right now.
I think they're both same height and everything, so it's he really stole his spot.
Yeah, and Andre Jackson is only playable when he's playing with the superstars because he can't shoot and he can't do those other things, so he can kind of hide.
Intangibles, yeah.
Right. So that's where the bench scares me, is that the Bucks are so old and susceptible to injury that if we have to rely on those pieces work in the full like machine, but if Brook goes down, we have no center because Bobby Portis can't do that full time. You know, if Giannis goes down, Bobby Portis and Taurean Prince are not those guys. And so that's where the Bucks scare me, and that's why I don't know if they can win an NBA title. Like, they'll compete, they'll be really good if they're healthy.
Yeah.
But that bench is a problem, and while it's better than last year, it still might be the worst bench out of the contenders.
Which is why I'm telling you, we need to make a move. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of draft capital. I think we have a 2031 pick. I think that's where our next picks are. So we got to figure out something. Maybe look to see who is a free agent still out there. I don't know I haven't looked at the free agency list recently, but I think finding pieces to just better our bench is where we're at right now, which is why Pat Connaughton for Chris Dunn. Let's make it happen.
I need you to remember, Didge, that the other team is gonna need to want Pat Connaughton for some reason.
I feel like we can finesse the Clippers and be like, "Yo, look at what Pat did." Show them like some 2021 highlights and like we can Photoshop the jersey so it's whatever the New Jersey sponsor is.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's gonna work, but I'm hold out hope for you. You know, I mean, we'll see.
In a perfect world, the Bucks stay healthy and everything works out. You know, because Dame and Giannis were like the second highest scoring duo last year on a bad year.
Right.
So if they stay healthy, the Bucks are going to be just fine. But I don't have the confidence that they will be healthy. That's the problem.
That's the scary part with every team. I mean, even our team, we got it's not like we're the healthiest fucking people, so we get it. Juwaan, how do you feel about the Milwaukee Bucks?
Short and sweet. Health. That's it. Health. I mean, am I really worried about this team last year? If Giannis is completely healthy and Dame is completely healthy, they beat the Pacers. I think we give them a tough series, whatever comes from that. So, no, health, really. I don't even think chemistry was their problem. I think health was their problem.
No, chemistry was a problem early on.
Yeah, but of course, you just got them. So, of course. But I don't think it was a problem to end the season.
Okay, so when we say chemistry, it's not even team chemistry. We had a coaching change, and that changed a lot, too.
Yeah, that was also chemistry.
That's still technically chemistry.
That was pretty crazy. I wasn't expecting a coaching change like that, but
buddy, you guys didn't see Adrian Griffin's press conferences. I think that's why he got. There were moments where he's just like, I'm still new at this. I'm learning from these guys, and I'm doing with it. Like, he basically was saying, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm letting my players decide what to do."
Yeah, like Darvin Ham. Yeah.
That's another thing. Darvin
isn't he in Milwaukee?
Yes, he's back. Taurean Prince.
That's right. He picked him from LA. Look at you, thieves, man.
I'm going, but I'm taking Prince with me. Okay. All right. No, health for me. Short and sweet, health. Bucks will be a top 5 team. That's not even to be debated. That's not even to be. If they're not a top 5 team, either the Pacers or Cavs did something really great, or the Bucks did something really diabolical. So for me, they're top 5. Top 5, leaning top 4.
Top 5, top 4 in the conference or the league? Those are two very different things.
Oh, conference.
Okay.
Yeah, conference.
Yeah, Bucks. Yes. Bucks are one of the better teams, top half of the league, if healthy, especially.
I will point out that Giannis statistically had his best year last year next to Damian Lillard. Mm-hmm. So if they trend in the right direction, I can see Giannis like having the best year of his career this season. Nice. And I think that puts the Bucks in a very good spot. Again, it's just him being ready for when they need him in the playoffs. I'm hoping, and this is where it's like the win totals might take a hit, because maybe Doc is just going to be like, yeah, you're gonna play 65 games. Like, you're going to just qualify for your awards, and we're sitting you down.
I will say this. What's going to be interesting for me, looking at the Sixers, looking at the Bucks, and looking at the Knicks will be, this will be one of the rare seasons where you go, is Boston really that good? Or did they take advantage of a really beaten up East? Because I don't think it's a far off from where Boston is to where Bucks, Sixers, and Knicks are, right? So it just comes down to, if Giannis is healthy, Giannis can give that whole team fits, right?
I'm pretty sure the Bucks and Celtics split their season series last year anyway. So like,
that's what I'm saying. It's not
teams are healthy. Yeah. No, I was just agreeing with you of like, last year was weird because again the Pacers got as far as they did because they played beat up teams, and those are contenders that the Celtics didn't have to play.
Right.
And not taking anything away from them, you beat who's in front of you, but it's like, if in a perfect world where all these teams are healthy, I don't know what happens. Maybe the Knicks do get to the NBA Finals. Maybe the Bucks get to the NBA Finals. You don't really know.
Right. That's why I don't view this season for the Bucks, the Sixers, or the Knicks a championship or bust. Because I believe the media can't have their cake and eat it too. You can't tell me that the Celtics are this world-beating, fucking Galactus, basketball world eaters.
Avengers level threat.
Right, but then you say, well, the Knicks just did what they did. Obviously, the Bucks coming off getting Lillard and the Sixers getting Paul George. It's championship or bust. Well, it can't be championship or bust if you're telling us already that team is better than us. So for me, it's a measuring stick of who out of the Sixers, the Knicks, the Bucks, who out of those three can slay the dragon. That's going to be the most interesting part. But if the Bucks get to the second round and knocked out, the Knicks get to the second round and knocked out, or the Sixers, I don't consider that. No, I'm sorry, not second round. Eastern Conference Finals. Sorry, Eastern Conference Finals against the Celtics. I don't consider that.
Basically, wherever you play the Celtics, because one of those teams will have to play them in the second.
Right. So wherever you play the Celtics, we'll put it there. Wherever you play the Celtics, I don't consider that a failure if that's the team that beats you. Any other team, yes, for sure. But the Celtics, no, not the way the media keeps hyping them up. So
I mostly agree with the Bucks, though. I would say it's probably championship or bust, simply because they're the oldest team out of all these contenders.
Yep.
And one less year of Dame and Chris Middleton.
The window's closing.
The window's going to be shut next year. Like, I don't know if you bring in 90-year-old Brooke Lopez next season.
Wow, Brooke is old. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I think they said he's in like year 17 or 18 at media day, and it's just like, okay, we got to wind this up, guys. Brooke is still playing well, but like, at what point does he take a pay cut? Because too much of their money is tied up.
Yeah, he's in. It's year 15. He's 30, about to turn 37.
Yeah, I get what I get where you guys are coming from, but I'm just saying I wouldn't consider it a failure if the team you lost to was the Boston Celtics. That's all I'm saying. Any other team, for either one of our teams, that's a failure. But the Celtics, no, not the way that the media keeps hyping them as these world beaters. So that's all I'm saying. So I think for the Bucks, health, and obviously getting over the obvious obstacle that is Doc Rivers, and I think you guys will be just fine.
Obvious obstacle that is Doc Rivers.
At some point, that's going to be a downfall for you guys, for sure.
I get it. That's crazy.
For sure. There's going to be one playoff game where we go, what? Like, what? Who did you play?
It's gonna be the game where Pat Connaughton plays 30 minutes. That's the sad part.
Yes, that's exactly what's gonna happen. No, you know what's gonna be? It's gonna be, Mike. It's gonna be the day after the trade deadline, where Doc goes, "No, we didn't trade Pat Connaughton because we think he's a very valuable piece to a championship."
Oh, he's already saying that. That's why, like, I'm prepping Didge now because Doc Rivers is like, Pat Connaughton is so valuable to this team. He's such a great role guy.
I'm trying to push the narrative so badly that Doc Rivers is like, man, maybe it is time.
Nah, your voice wasn't raspy enough for me to believe you were Doc.
Man,
maybe it is time.
There you go. Yep. Now I believe it.
Was who is Doc's favorite player so far? That one player. There was that one player that. No, I'm saying like on the team right now on this roster. Yeah.
it's going to be somebody random.
Pat Connaughton, that's the problem.
It is Pat.
Like outside of the supers, like his favorite player is probably Damian Lillard, which of course.
Right.
But like of the non-starters, his favorite player clearly is AJ Green and Pat Connaughton.
That's what I was gonna say. It's probably gonna be AJ Green.
So he likes AJ Green. Okay.
There you go.
I knew there was somebody because I'm like, there's always that one player that this coach likes that everyone else is like, why does he get minutes? Like who? Like who?
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like AJ Green is a decent player, but again, it's, and that's the thing about the Bucks' young talent. When they're next to Giannis and Dame, they can survive.
Mm-hmm.
But the point of being a backup is if those dudes aren't playing that day, whether it be rest or injury, they ain't got the stuff.
Right.
That might be the Bucks' downfall unless what you have as your projected starters, unless all those dudes are healthy by playoff time, the Bucks are screwed. That's just the glass cannon of it all. Like it's either championship if those dudes are there, or it's bounce to the first round again if they're not.
So let me question. One last question. From Bucks fans' perspective, your starting five. Would you say those are your top 5 players on the team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's pretty much who started in their first preseason game. Like,
okay.
Giannis and Chris, of course, didn't play.
Right.
But obviously,
Bobby
started. Prince started, and Pat Connaughton.
Oh,
Bobby didn't start. Yeah.
Oh, Pat Connie. Imagine.
Yeah. So assuming that Chris and Giannis start, which that is the starting lineup because like Gary Trent was the starting shooting guard.
So Bobby would be 6.
Yeah, Bobby would be 6 man. I forgot about that. Yeah, Gary Trent hurt his elbow because he got a wincing, holding it weird. So health again.
Hyperextension he has, by the way.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. Been there. That sucks.
But yeah, your starting 5 is exactly what they put out there essentially. So yeah, you're on the money there. And I think that's a balanced lineup. I wouldn't change it. They just need to make it to the end of the season.
Yep.
I get you. I was just curious how your depth chart looking. Like, who was your 6th, 7th, 8th guy, 9th guy? You guys play normally 9 or 10 guys throughout the Doc. I don't know how Doc works.
Doc is like an 8-man rotation.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Doc will wake up and be like, you know what? I don't care what you did last game. You're not playing today.
We just so you guys know, we only ask because me and Joel are watching this Knick game, and we're watching all this fun young talent that will never dribble a ball once the regular season starts.
Yeah.
So,
that's how Doc is, but like I don't even know if it's just Doc likes his veterans or if it's just out of necessity because our young guys are just that inconsistent.
Right.
But yeah, filling out the depth chart, it of course would be the starting 5. Bobby coming in as the 6th man for Giannis and Brooke. I would assume DeLon Wright coming in for Lillard and Trent Jr. And then you get to Pat Connaughton, who's probably going to play a lot because who knows how much Chris Middleton even plays. Like Chris Middleton might still be on a minutes restriction early on. So like even if he plays, he might be playing 20, 25 minutes a game, no back-to-backs.
Boost that Pat Connaughton trade value. Let's go.
If he plays well, like if Pat Connaughton has a career year, all for it. That's what I'm here for. But yeah, that's pretty much what the depth chart's gonna look like. AJ Green's probably gonna be getting a lot of runs too, depending.
Okay. That's I always do. I know I missed somebody. I'm just like when you're healthy, I'm like, where does AJ Green fit? Or like Marjan, Beauchamp, where does he fit?
That's the problem. Again, health is such a problem for the Bucks. Is there's tiers of when they're healthy. Is it when Chris Middleton is playing, or is it when Chris Middleton's 100% healthy?
Right.
Because if he's 100% healthy, 33 minutes a game, those guys will never see the court. If it's what it's been the last couple of years and no back-to-backs and he's playing 20 minutes, you're going to see a lot of AJ Green and you're going to see a lot of Pat Connaughton.
Fair. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Cool. So wow, we broke down the Bucks. At least I think we did. We went through this Central Division fairly quickly. I mean, in my opinion, there was a lot there. Bucks will probably still have the class of the Central, them and the Pacers at the very least, and then the other 3. Obviously, the Cavaliers are good. Pistons are young, and Chicago is a question mark as always. So we'll see. Next week is the finale, unfortunately, of this preview. We will come down to the last division in our trip to the 6-on-6, the sixth week. We'll be going over the Atlantic Division. We're home of the New York Knicks, as we will be discussing our team and the teams surrounding them as the defending champion Boston Celtics.
I would not come in with hate in my heart. You guys didn't have hate, so I'll return.
Wait, hold on. Here's my question: why did you think we would?
Yeah,
I was prepared for it. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, the Bucks are no enemy of ours, man. It's respect, man. It's respect.
I mean, it's also like we're just breaking down what we think. It's not. I'm not. This is very non-biased. I don't really care either way.
No. See, that's Joel's opinion. That ain't mine. Because fuck the Pacers.
Look, man, I was nice to the Pacers today. I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah, I knew I wasn't gonna do that.
Yeah, no, I can't stomach that idea. Nah. Oh my God, Joel! T.J. Warren scored a bucket. He's back. Pandemic. T.J. Warren is back, baby. Let's go.
Game changer.
2 minutes.
Let's go. Joel, he got a bucket. He's back. All right, I'll save it for next week. Sorry, I'll save it for next week.
I'm not talking about T.J. Warren next week.
You might not. You don't control what I say. All right, this ain't Agatha.
This is not even on my list.
TJ will be brought up by me.
If he's still on the team by then.
Even if he isn't.
Winter cuts.
I'm assuming soon. I mean,
I can tell you right now, Didge, cuts for the Knicks were today. The starters played deep into the third quarter. You can tell exactly.
This is his problem, man. I swear to God. Why y'all playing deep into the third quarter in a preseason?
It is a second preseason game, right?
Yeah, we're trying to,
But also remember, guys, Bodega Cat and Mikkel.
Yeah, we have a lot.
You got to work them in more. Work them in more.
They needed some time to gel. They started looking really good towards the end there. So it's like started off a little shaky, but it takes time.
That's fair.
But we obviously blew them out at the end of the day, so it matter.
It sure did.
But yeah, well, next week it should be fun. We'll close it out. We'll have another guest. Hopefully, we'll talk, have fun. This has been fun. I appreciate everybody coming on and doing this for me.
Shout out to Didge and Mike, man.
Yeah, I really do appreciate it because
am I getting kicked off for next week or something? Like,
no, I'm just saying.
Well, you said we're having our special guest, and then Juwaan was shout out to Didge and Mike, and I'm like, damn, I got kicked off.
Getting replaced for the rest of the Knicks crew, Didge.
Joel said no. Look at y'all not listening to Joel. Joel said he wanted to thank you guys for coming on, and that's why I'm like, shout out to Didge and Mike.
I 1000% heard you, but again, I own the gold medal in instigation.
That's fair.
I definitely missed it. I was like, damn, all right.
No, not being kicked off. No,
not at all. I was just.
But if we do need more room to assemble more Bodega Knicks, we'll make the
first cut.
That's fair.
That's fair. Your minutes get cut first.
I'll hate bench stage. I'm getting cut too. Don't worry.
That's fair. I'm gonna be in the comments, definitely hating, man.
We appreciate it because that means you're on the bench for us. So we appreciate that. We appreciate that.
You're six man. If someone gets hurt throughout the conversation, it bites your tongue.
We don't like someone's opinions. All right, sub out my bitch.
What's coming off?
That's it.
We talked about your team. Get out.
I know, right? Harsh.
I tried to have people. I mean, I could probably find another one if I tried, but we're good. We'll just have what we have, and
we could just
shine. That's what he said.
Yeah, we could just turn on the bodega lights.
It's crazy.
Just turn on the bodega lights.
This has been with us all the whole time, so I wouldn't kick it out ever. Anyway, we're good.
That's how Doc feels about Pat Connaughton. Anyway, try this out.
Didge is not Pat Connaughton. You just can't get rid of talent like that.
All right, let's get some sign-ups. Didge, you want to before we leave?
Yeah, you can find me at Didge_DEE in all places. Trayvon and I got an iPhone or Apple video coming out on my channel. Probably Friday. I got to finish editing it, so it'll likely be out Friday. All about the rumored Apple event coming out. And in it, we talk about some of the other stuff that will be coming up on my channel. Then also follow the Geek Set Podcast for more of my nerdy stuff.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys give him a follow.
Want to push something, buddy?
Oh, yeah. Collider.com stuffs. I interviewed the cast of My Hero Academia and Transformers 1. Those will go up. On the podcast side of things, Assembled, we're going to be live talking. What are we talking about this week? There's too much. There's so much superhero stuff that happened. It's either going to be the Lantern stuff or Penguin or Joker Folie à Deux, because somebody needs to rant about that. That's going to be on
Did
Geek
you guys
Live.
not get enough during the chat this week?
We didn't record it, Joel. That's the problem.
You got to record the hate, Joel.
I didn't say a word, and I was like, I'm done.
I didn't even see it, and I was participating.
I was like, yikes. I didn't either. I still haven't seen it.
I don't think you should, but if you did somehow suffer through Joker Folie à Deux, Geek Week is live. We're going to be talking on Assembled. Spoiler discussion for that. And of course, Chatter After stuff is happening. I know the guys are working on stuff there. And of course, the Amateur Otaku, I think we're doing a My Hero Academia thing for your next that comes out this week. I don't know.
Yes.
Isaac has all the plans. So yeah, check those out. Knobs in a file everywhere.
Sure. And Juwaan, anything before we go? Are we doing our show tomorrow? We didn't do
yes, we are doing the show tomorrow. Yeah, no, that was Trayvon's fault, everyone, just so you know, that we didn't do the show last week. I will gladly throw him under the bus.
On this show last week, you stated that for other reasons.
No, Trayvon first told us he was going out Thursday, so he wouldn't be able to. He was actually going to go see Joker, is what he told us. So I'm like, all right, we could just take the week off. Then he hits us up Thursday, like, we podding? Like, what? What? No, man. You said no.
Both of y'all are so messy because Didge, one, you didn't have to out Juwaan like that first off. Right here live.
I'm definitely sure I said something else besides that, but Trayvon definitely started it. He started that momentum train.
I was trying to keep him honest, I ain't wanting to throw my good buddy Nerd with the tech under the bus for no reason.
No, there's a good ass reason. But no, all love to Trayvon. We will all be back tomorrow. There's so much stuff to talk about, like Mike was saying. It's too much to talk about. And I will be ranting about Velma being canceled. So that will be part of tomorrow's show. I'm very angry.
Are you sad that Velma was canceled?
Yeah.
Fuck yes. I love that show.
I like that.
Y'all are the only two people on Earth that have this take. This is interesting.
I enjoyed the show so much. I even just watched the special that dropped. I love the show.
I did too.
So yeah. Sorry.
Disappointing.
Hey, I never watched it. So cool.
It was good. It's really good. A nice fresh take on it. So
damn it.
Yeah. Chaos. Yes, thank you,
too.
Thank you.
More
also bullshit. Yeah. Really good. Anyway, that'll be for tomorrow. I want to again thank Didge and Mike for joining us for this episode, man. We had a blast with you guys. Didge will be back next week, no matter what. I mean, it just depends on who answers the bodega symbol. who answers the bodega symbol in the sky.
I hate that y'all keep reiterating that you have it depends. It's contractual, right? Where it's like we're gonna put the bat signal up, and if we get Robin, we'll live with it. But we really want Batman to answer.
Hey, look, when we use the Marvel, what did he call it? The Marvel Sparkle Circle. Whoever comes out of that is who will be here to talk with us next week. Hopefully, Didge is the first one out of there.
We're gonna live with it.
We're okay with anyone that comes out. But no. So thank you guys so much. We will see you tomorrow. If you guys have not, make sure you definitely subscribe to our Twitch channel. We actually did a Fortnite stream with Didge, Jamie, and Trayvon Saturday, right? I think.
And it was chaotic. Yes,
it was so chaotic. But we got some dubs. We got some dubs, man. We
played
did.
the horror maps. That was fun.
We did.
Jamie was yelling at all of us.
That was true.
You got Jamie to do a horror map? Damn.
Yeah, Jamie was saying some slurs and everything. It was crazy.
I tricked Jamie and Trayvon into playing.
Trayvon was not happy.
I hit them both. I was like, yo, you trying to play the game? I'm gonna invite you. didn't tell them what we were getting invited to.
Not at all. Not at all. But it was a blast. So
It was fun.
It's up on the channel. Make sure you guys go check it out. We had a blast. But until tomorrow, guys, thank you so much and peace.
Bucks and 6.
Yep.
I waited because I knew something was coming. I didn't even
You're
hit
welcome.
end stream.